Alright, and welcome to the third episode, which is just going to be showing off how to download qBittorrent and how to download Sabnzb. Look for the timestamps. If you only need to know how to install one, just go ahead and do that. For qBittorrent, I'm only going to be showing the in-app configurations and the web GUI and stuff like that. I'm not going to be showing how to connect it to a VPN. And the reason for that is because I already have a video that shows you step by step exactly how to do it, getting the file onto your server, and then just everything. So I don't want to have to redo that because that was like I think 20-something minute video. So if we had to incorporate that into this as well, it would be a total pain in the ass. The video would be like 40 minutes long. So we're not going to do that. I'm just going to show you how to link all the applications together, get all your download files and stuff like that, and just everything going, okay? So here's this. We have my downloads data set, but we need to add two more things in it. So let's go ahead and add a data set, and we'll name this qBit. That one will be for qBittorrent. And then we'll add one more data set, and we'll name this one NZB. Go ahead and save that. And then on the parent directory, for downloads, we'll go ahead and click on the three dots, view permissions, click on the pencil. Make sure this says apps. If not, type it in. Make sure group says apps. If not, again, type it in. Make sure the permissions looks like this. Apply recursively and apply to child data sets, and then go ahead and click on save. Setting our permissions to apps is just making sure that our apps user has access to the files that are going to be placed there, and apps is the user that runs radar, sonar, lidar, qBittorrent, everything, Sabnzb, all that stuff. So obviously we want that user to be able to have access. Okay, now go ahead and take a look at the timestamps because we're going to be installing qBittorrent first, again without the VPN. If you need that section, look in the video description and you'll see the guide on how to connect to qBittorrent with a VPN. And then after you get done with that video, then you can come back to this video and then just skip the installation process, and I'll show you what in-app configurations that we're going to be doing. So we'll start off with qBittorrent, like I said. We're going to be doing the TrueCharts stable version. Copy that, just paste that in there like I always do. And we'll go ahead and just skip past pretty much all this stuff. If you are doing a VPN, make sure, well, I guess if you are doing a VPN, you're not watching this part, but just make sure that these two ports are changed to the port forward that you set. Okay, and then once you get down to storage and persistence, since we skipped past everything else, make sure you click on add. And then we need to add in our downloads path. So just qBit, that will be good right there. And then just copy this. And then we'll just have a / qBit as our mount path. Put ingress in there if you want to. I will not be. And then skip past everything else. Again, here's the VPN, but we're not going to be installing that. Those guys already watched the other video. Click on save. Okay, so it looks like the application came up. Go ahead and click on open. It's going to say unauthorized. That is fine. Come up to the URL, highlight it, press enter. Username is admin. Copy that. Come down to the password and paste admin twice. So admin, admin, admin. Okay, and now go to tools and then options. And then we'll go ahead and just start filling this information out. We'll stay on the downloads tab. I'll try to zoom in if I can. No, it's not going to let me. We'll change this to automatic default torrent management because we want this all to pretty much just be automatic. If we change any categories or anything like that, we want it to change the file path and all that stuff. And then we'll go ahead and change this to our host path that we set. If you remember earlier, that folder was called qBit, so we'll go ahead and just leave that right there. And then we'll go ahead and put the default save path to that, to complete. Go ahead and highlight that, and then Close that, put that right there. And then I like having a backup folder, so I'm also going to create a backup folder, qBit, and then backup. So this is just good just in case if qBittorrent ends up deleting anything and you weren't done seeding it, and then that tracker is upset with you. All you have to do is just re-add that torrent back and then start re-downloading it and whatever, and start seeding up to what ratio they require. Monitored folder, this is optional, you don't have to put this in, but I like having one just in case. So we'll go ahead and put monitor into there. And that looks good, so we'll go ahead and save that. And yep, everything looks good. We got our complete. This does not say, we need to change this to temp. There we go. Keep incomplete torrents in temp, so we'll just go ahead and keep that right there. Complete goes to complete. All right, looks good to me. And then we're going to disable this because this isn't really a thing when it comes to Kubernetes and stuff like that. UPnP and stuff like that does not work, so we're just going to disable that. And then you need to change this port if you have a specific port on a server that you're using for your VPN. So if you port forwarded a certain port on your server because you have a VPN, you need to change it to this. Otherwise, you can port forward this port on your router or change this to a port that's unused or whatever you want to do. But if you did open up a port on like Molvad or something like that on one of their servers and they allocated you like a random port, make sure that this port matches that, and make sure that your settings port as well matches that. So we'll go back down here. These two ports, not this because this is for your web GUI. These two, make sure that all three of these ports match your forwarded port. And then for connection limits, I'm just going to disable all this, and that's it for that one. Next, we'll go ahead and just go to alternate rate limits. I'm going to go ahead and set this to around 10 megabytes. So we'll set that right there. Change this to 0. And then we'll change this from 8 to 02 in the morning. And the reason why I'm doing this is because anywhere from 8 to 2 in the morning, someone might be watching Plex or something like that. I don't want all my bandwidth going towards seeding, right? I'd rather have that I'd rather have my bandwidth for Plex and my own use and stuff like that. So, but any other time, like during the night and whatnot, when no one is watching Plex, I don't care what happens to my bandwidth. So that's good for speed. We'll go to BitTorrent. And then I'm going to enable local peer discovery to find more peers, mainly because this is only really useful if you're on like a giant college campus or something like that. I don't have a local network that's huge and other people are going to be somehow seeding the same torrent that I am, or looking for the same torrent that I'm seeding. Torrent queuing. I changed this to some pretty high numbers. You can change these to whatever your system is capable of, or whatever your internet is capable of. It's really up to you. When the ratio reaches 10, I am going to enable superseding for the torrent, and then that looks good for that. We don't do anything on RSS because sonar and radar are going to be handling all of our RSS and stuff like that. Okay, next, bypass authentication for clients and whitelisted IP subnets. So this is useful for your Kubernetes network. I'll show you that right now. You need to go to available applications, settings, and then advanced settings. This IP space right here is what Kubernetes is using. Obviously, we want to allow Kubernetes to access qBittorrent without having to authenticate with your username and password. And then, by the way, this is also where you would change your password right here if you need to. I'm not going to. And then I also like to put my personal IP on here. As you can see, I'm using 192.168.0 as well as like a .1 and stuff like that. So I just do /16 just so anyone on my network can also access this. You might not want to do this for your local network if you're on a college campus or something like that, because then people will just be able to access your stuff, obviously, and that won't be good. And then over on advanced, you want to change this to whatever interface that you're using if you're using a VPN. If you do not use this and for whatever reason your VPN has a leak or something like that, you're likely to get a DMCA takedown to your house. So it's a good idea to, if you're in a country that cares about it, right? So it's a good idea to set this to WG0, or I think the other one is just, it's one of these ones that's not already here, like LOETH0 and stuff like that. Make sure that it's just set to the correct interface, pretty much. Okay, and then on this, I want to reannounce to all trackers when IP or port has changed. I want to do that just because I mean, this is on a server. It's going to be running for a very long time. I don't want my IP address to change because my internet went down for a second or whatever, and then I get allocated a new IP address, and then I'm no longer seeding or something. So I want to reannounce to all trackers in that event. And then we'll go ahead and scroll down here, and always announce to all trackers in tier. You can try enabling this. I do have it enabled on my other server. That's what I'm comparing to. That's why there's so many cuts in this video, just because I'm making sure that I'm getting all the settings that I'm actually using in this video. And that looks pretty good. Yeah, that should be good. Now all we have to do is go to Radar and Sonar and Prowler and connect our download client to all three of those. So come here. Download clients, open this up, and then we'll select qBittorrent. I'll just go ahead and copy and paste that. And then for host, we will get our IP. Oh, look, it's already up. Sweet. I need to run it again because we just installed it. qBittorrent right here. Copy that. And then what is that IP? There we go. No SSL. We shouldn't have to input a username or password because, again, we allowed our Kubernetes network to bypass that. Category, I'm going to put in movies. And then this is going to be your download destination. So that's very important. We'll go ahead and just put movies in there. That should be it. So we'll go ahead and click on save after we tested it. So it looks like that's good. And then it talks about this. We'll go ahead and copy this. It's saying that we have an error, and that's fine. We're going to fix that right now. And it's saying that we have an error because that mount path does not exist to Radar yet. So we're going to go ahead and fix that. Come all the way down here, and then under storage and persistence, we'll add another additional app storage. And then we'll just give it access to downloads with qBit. We'll go ahead and put that there with another forward and put in movies because this is our category. So it's going into qBit complete, and then we want it to be in movies. Okay, now that we're done with that, we'll go ahead and scroll down to the bottom and save. And then as you can see here, I just reloaded and it says that we have no issues with your configuration. And that's it. Radar is now done. We can move on to Sonar. So I'm just going to go ahead and speed through all this stuff because it's all exactly the same thing with all of these. And then, yeah. One thing I probably should mention is for Prowler, we're going to go ahead and put in manual, and that's because we don't want Radar or Sonar or anything like that to see it. Usually when you're downloading straight from Prowler, it's going to go. It's because you're doing it manually, and you want it to go into a manual folder that you're manually going to bring it into whatever folder it needs to go into. And then I almost added additional storage for Prowler, but you don't need it. Alright, and this is going to be the Sabnzb section, and the reason why I'm using Sabnzb instead of nzbget is because Sabnzb is still being developed. It's an awesome application. I haven't had any issues or anything like that, and it's actually been faster than nzbget has. Within the realm of error though, it's only like 4 megabytes faster, if even. But I'm not having issues with like download loops or anything like that, where it downloads the same file and then it keeps downloading it and stuff like that, or keeps looking for a folder or a file that's better. It doesn't have any sort of like naming issues or anything like that. Maybe I just had nzbget misconfigured or something, but it doesn't have. I've just never had any issues with it, and it's actually really fast. And the team that's working on it seems like a lot of cool people, so that's why I'm going with this. If you'd rather install nzbget, that's fine. I have documentation on my website on how to set that one up instead. Hostname whitelist. So if you're going to be using Ingress, go ahead and type in whatever your server.com or whatever your hostname is that's going to be here. I'm not going to be, so I'm going to skip this. And then when you get down to storage and persistence, we will make sure it's host path simple, and then go to our downloads folder, and then make sure it says nzb. And per usual, we're just using the last folder as our mount path. Enable ingress if you want to, but everything else looks good to me. One thing to mention is if you are using a really slow system, then you might notice slowdowns with Sab. I don't know, maybe if you have like a 1980s computer that takes up half your room, then yeah, Sab might be a little bit slower for you, but for me it runs perfectly. So, and then we're going to wait for this deploy, but really all I'm going to be showing you is just following these steps for setting it up with trash guides. So if you rather just follow these steps, which these steps are probably going to be more updated than this video, it's probably a good idea to follow these steps anyway, because I'm not going to be updating the videos like new stuff comes out, unless it's like really breaking or something like that. Then yeah, I'll remake the video. But this is probably going to be your most up-to-date information if you want to go ahead and just follow this. And then linking applications together, I already showed you how to do that like 100 times, so it should be pretty easy to do by now. Alright, so Sabnzb is active. I speak English. And then you go ahead and add in your site and stuff like that. So let's see. I'll just show you an example on how to add a site. Okay, so this is pretty much how you add a site. You'll see I entered the host, which is just news.ewika.nl. It's one of the backbones that well, not a backbone. Well, I guess Ewika is its own backbone, isn't it now? I can't remember. But it's one of the servers that I'm using, so you can go ahead and go to Ewika if you want to. I think their prices are alright. I'd probably go to r/usenet first and check out their deals, because they have a lot of really good deals on there. But yeah, you pretty much just enable all this. Make sure to enable SSL as well. And then if you need to, sometimes you have to click on advanced settings. I don't need to in this configuration, because the connection was successful and everything seems to work, so we'll just go next. We'll just skip past this for right now and then go to our config. Go to general. Zoom in just a bit, and then we'll just go ahead and check out this. So it tells us to go to general and then tuning. So let's go ahead and do that. Looks like we need to have advanced settings on. So general and then tuning, as you can see right here. And then what is your maximum speed? Well, I'm about at probably 100. So that'll be good. And then percentage of line speed that I want utilized, I'm going to change this to 80, just like it has in here. And then I'll go ahead and save the changes. It's going to require that I restart. There we go. So come back to our configuration, and then the next step is to go into folders. And I think we can, yeah, we don't need to see all that. Folders. Okay, so we're not going to be using downloads. We're going to be using NZB. And then for complete, we're going to be using NZB. And then let me just verify this with my actual configuration. Yep. And then watched folder. My watch folder is really stupidly named, but I just imagine I'm putting NZBs in the NZB folder, I guess. You can obviously just name yours like watched or something, but whatever. Scripts folder. We're going to name this scripts, and then go ahead and save changes. See that that's saved. That was pretty easy to do. Iwaka is enabled, and if you have more servers, this is when you will add them. You'll come up here and you'll add another server, and then you can even do it tiered. You can see that this is priority 0. It's a good idea to have multiple backbones. If you go to r/usenet, again, it's a really good resource, and I know I'm not like a Redditor or anything like that, but they actually do have like really good resources. And they have a site where it will tell you which provider is which backbone. You want to aim for at least 2 different backbones if you're getting multiple servers. So if you can only afford 1 server, I would suggest that you go with Frugal, because it comes with 2 backbones and it's actually pretty good. Like, I rarely have any issues with Frugal. But we'll go ahead and go to categories. And then we'll scroll down. I'm pretty sure categories is the next thing. Yeah, it's basically just telling you how to like add servers and stuff like that if you need to. Yeah, if you want to follow these steps, go ahead. Again, hopefully most people are not actually watching the video and they're just going through these steps. They're super easy. It's just like 1 through 9 and everything, and then the numbers are on here. So okay, so for categories, settings, and then into categories, that's what we are on. Oh yeah, so this is what we need to do. We need to change this to series, because again, that's what Sonar is going to be using. But Sonar is going to be using series, and then Radar is always using lowercase movies, lowercase series, and then audio if you need it. I'm not going to be adding that. And I remember, once you make a change, you have to come over here and press that. And then we can open up the folder path, and let's go into complete. Did that make a change? Okay, so I'll just copy it from my other thing, except we're going to be using a lowercase s here. So we'll just go ahead and click save, and the folder path is just /NZB and then completed, because that's where completed downloads are going to be going, and then straight into series, because this is the folder that Sonar is going to be monitoring. Same thing with Radar, except it's going to be a lowercase m. Go ahead and save that. Software, I don't really download software, so I'm not going to add that, but I am going to add the manual path, because if you remember, we also going to have a manual folder for when we add stuff with like Prowler and whatnot. And then we just need to change just a few more things, so we'll go ahead and add this series, and then manual. Make sure you're clicking save after each and every one. Movies, save, and then I think that that is it. Let me see. Categories, settings covered, fully explained in Sabnzb, path, and categories. Okay. So I guess we can open up this and make sure that we did not miss anything. Please download folder. Yep. Okay, yeah, so it's pretty self-explanatory. Let's go to switches now. And then this kind of has a lot of stuff, so we gotta pay attention. So we'll go ahead and come down to queue, abort jobs that cannot be completed. All right, so make sure that is highlighted just like in the video. Detect duplicate episodes in series. So we'll come here and we will tag the job. detect duplicate. And it looks like this one's tag job as well. This one's pause, blacklist, off, sort by newest to oldest, and then direct unpack, and then we'll go ahead and save changes. Post-processing, same exact thing. We're just going to be looking at the pictures. The most important thing though is the text. Make sure that the text doesn't say anything because usually the text will be more updated than the pictures is what I've seen throughout their guides sometimes. So we'll go ahead and disable that, and then we will ignore folders inside archives. On failure, try alternative NZB. Sure, deobfuscate file names. Yep. All right, and then we can save changes on that. Scroll down once again. Settings and then sorting. Sorting is right here. Make sure that is completely disabled. That's what this says right here. And then we can go ahead and look at the settings for sonar and radar, and we'll get to that as soon as we're done with this. All right, and Sabnzb is pretty much done. There's only one thing that we want to do, and that's to install this script. So we'll go ahead and come here. You'll see under Sabnzb and Trash Guides, there is a scripts category, I guess. And then we'll come here, we'll click on this, open up a terminal. Or if you have SMB enabled, you can go ahead and just copy and paste it. Just find a way to get to your server. You have to already know of a way to get to your server by now. And then what we're going to do is touch clean.py, and then we're going to vi into clean.py, and then we're going to press enter one time, and then I need to hold shift and control and V, and then that will paste everything into here. And then once you're done, press escape one time to get out of insert mode. Press the colon. You'll see at the very bottom left that a colon popped up, and now we need to type in WQ explanation. That just means that we're going to write and then quit, and then we're going to force it. Okay, now we can cat clean up py, make sure that's all in there. It is. Okay, cool. Now we need to chmod plus x clean.py. And chmod plus x, that's just going to be giving clean.py executable rights. Well, it's going to make it executable. It's not giving it executable rights, but you guys understand what I'm trying to say. All right, and now, do we just need to refresh this, or what do we need to do? Yep, that's all we had to do. And then that'll be in there, and let's make sure that we didn't have to do anything else. Nope, looks like all you have to do is select that, and then come down here and save changes. And all this script is going to do is just hopefully clean up anything, get rid of any of the crap that's appended to the file name and stuff like that. Okay, and that looks like that's everything. So we're done with setting up Sabnzb. I'm going to go ahead and close out of this because we're done with that. And then we just need to do the same thing that we did with qBittorrent, is connect Sabnzb to radar, sonar, and prowler. Let's go ahead and do this. Sabnzb, copy that into there. For the host, let's go ahead and generate that. Mount, tank, scripts, heavy script, bash, heavy script, list DNS names, and then we'll go to Sabnzb, paste that in there, 10097, and then this actually has an API key, so I believe we get the API key from, let me see, is it general? Yes, it's right here. So you just go to general, scroll down to security, and then your API key will be right there. Just go ahead and post that into there. And then I don't believe that we need our username and password. Let's see. No, we don't, because we just have the API key. The username and password is optional. If you expose this to the web, as you can see here, you can set this if you want to. I don't, just because I usually secure stuff with Authelia, so I don't really worry about that. Okay, and then just ensure that the category that we set in categories for radar is here. Make sure that's the same exact thing that's showing up right here, and it is. Fantastic. And then make sure that these both are ticked. And let's see, what does this say? Okay. Okay, so we'll fix that in just a second. Now let's go ahead and do the same exact thing for sonar and prowler. Again, when typing in your category, make sure that it aligns with the category that you set in Sabnzb. If you're following this guide, it should just be series. I'll go ahead and test that. Looks like it's good. Make sure these two are ticked. Click save. Okay, and that is it. Now the only thing that we need to do is go to each of our applications. So we'll go to radar first, and then we'll add that additional storage so they can see the files that Sabnzb downloads. Okay, so you open up the application, add one more thing as storage, just like we have been doing, and then tank, downloads, nzb. And then since Sabnzb is using the mount path of /nzb, just like we have right here, you can see that it starts off with /nzb. That is all you have to copy into this. Then once you get done with that, come down here and click save. And then we'll do the same exact thing for sonar and yeah, just sonar actually. Okay, so that's all you have to do for Sabnzb. Make sure you go to your servers and then connections. Make sure you set this to the highest connection or whatever Trash Guides recommends. They usually have the best practices on there. But usually if a server offers 40 connections, which is standard, 30 to 40, something like that, sometimes they order 50, then you can go ahead and type in 30 on there just to make sure that you're getting the absolute fastest speed. And then after you're done with that, just go ahead and click save, and that should be it. Now you're done adding your download clients.